Living with ADHD means a relentless desire to buy the latest to-do list app, but not actually using them again. It means buying a new daily planner, but never actually writing in it, or buying multiple screens, but not knowing how much this actually improves your workflow. Whilst my channel is all about the tips and tricks and technologies that I use to optimize my ADHD and the things that have actually worked for me, I realized early on that I need to get a hold of my spontaneous purchases and take control over my budget. This has been even more important since I started working for the first time as a doctor in the UK's National Health Service. In this video, I'm going to talk about how I use Monzo to manage the entirety of my expenses living with ADHD. I'm definitely not sponsored by Monzo. Using this app has just helped me so much with managing my spending sprees. As a bonus, if you stay till the end of this video, I'll show you how I use Monzo to earn over £300 in cashback this year alone with very little work on my end. Okay, let's get into it. My Monzo setup orients around payday, which in the NHS is the 25th day of each calendar month, or if this falls on a weekend, the Friday before. Monzo is really flexible and it allows you to set whatever reference date you want to start your budgeting from. On payday, I store all my expenses into different pots. Monzo has a great feature which separates it from some of the other banks. It allows you to create individualized pots which filter your expenses according to different themes. Using Monzo for the past few years, I've been able to track my expenses and broadly categorize these and set a budget for each pot. This is very much like the envelope method, where you put away money into different envelopes for each of the different pots of your life and then remove only what you spend from each pot. I'm constantly reviewing and optimizing my budget and adjusting for major life events. So what you'll see here is the current iteration. My pots are credit, food and household, eating out, personal, entertainment, cars, bills, expenses, family and charity. In food and household is the monthly food and flat related expenses for my wife and I. And that includes everything to do with the office, kitchen and toiletries. We cook at home a lot, so the budget is 200. For eating out, I have a budget of 100. We both love eating out. Who doesn't fancy an Oxford college formal dinner or a cheeky Nando's? My personal pot is everything which I spend just on me, including self-care or things I want online, such as shopping for clothes, which comes to around £100 a month. Entertainment is any fun activity I regularly take part in, and that includes playing golf. My budget is £100 a month for this. Car is all the expenses related to my car. That includes car insurance, road tax and fueling up. Since I've moved to Oxford, I'm almost entirely cycling, so my car expenses have come down drastically by 75% to only £100 a month. Bills are my flat bills, which come to around £600 a month. My expenses pot are all the monthly subscriptions that I have, such as my phone bills, Apple, Audible, free trade, charity, amongst other things. My family pot is money I support my parents with, and charity is money that I donate to charity and normally put £2 away every day. Monzo has an automatic salary sorter, which allows me to schedule and divide my salary into different pots automatically at the start of each month. Using pots, I can pay for a direct debit directly from a particular pot by scheduling payments, which is quite seamless. I do this with car expenses, for example. I pay directly for my direct debits from the car pot. My total planned budget on this current iteration is £1,700 a month, which is quite a lot, but I really don't want to budget anymore or else I won't be able to enjoy the things that I work really hard for. If I want to save more in a particular month, I'll just pick up additional locum work as a doctor in the NHS. It's important to note that this setup doesn't include unplanned month-to-month one-off expenses which I might experience or can adjust for, and oftentimes I don't spend the whole budget in each pot. It's a guide really, and I'm quite flexible. If one month I want to eat out more, I'll just spend less in other areas. By categorizing my expenses in Monzo, I'm able to regulate my ADHD by stopping random unplanned purchases, which I did through most of med school and which stopped me saving as much. It allows me to keep track of my week-by-week progress in terms of my expenses and make adjustments as necessary. The most important part of this system which I've developed is my beginning of month review, where I jot down all the unplanned expenses I made in the previous month and plan and account for any unplanned expenses which I anticipate I'll incur in the coming month. I set aside funds for events such as birthdays, weddings, parties or one-off items which don't quite fit into my budgeting system. Because I know my budget inside out, each month I'm able to plan my financial life goals, my long-term financial life goals, and feel a lot less anxiety doing so, particularly as inflation goes to the highest it's ever been in our living memory. I'm not insinuating that you should also be this detailed or spend as much time on this, but it's something that I enjoy and which gives me satisfaction, and importantly is a strategy which allows me to stay on top of my ADHD. Monzo offers a few great features which are quite easy to use and provide you lots of data around your spending. Trends, for example, calculates your monthly expenses across all your cards. It breaks down your spending across different categories. I have Monzo Plus, so I've created a few custom categories such as one-offs, and car. The latest version of Monzo gives you a running balance of where your account balance was at the start of the month and where it is now. I always keep my Monzo balance on zero, so it's not very helpful for me, but it gives you a better breakdown of how you spend your money. Monzo also shows you how much of your budget you have left each month, and since this is right on the main UI, it makes it very easy to stay on top of all expenses. Okay, now I mentioned I'm not being sponsored at all by Monzo. This is a genuine review. To help out the channel, I've included a link to join Monzo in the description below. If you sign up using this link and make a card payment within 30 days, you'll receive £5, and for full disclosure, I'll also receive £5. But there's no problem at all if you didn't want to use this link for whatever reason. You can find other links throughout the internet which have the same offer Monzo is currently doing. I promise that if you stay to the end of this video, I'll include a bonus. The biggest reason why I pay £5 a month for Monzo Plus is it integrates well with other debit and credit cards that I have, allowing me to have all my accounts and credit cards in one place. I really hated seeing all my debit expenses clog up my UI. This distracts me and made it very hard to stay on top of my expenses. How I've overcome this is I don't actually do 99% of my spending on Monzo. I use my credit cards instead to do pretty much all my spending. This means that I have a clean Monzo interface and that I never actually use my own money to pay for things. I use credit. Now, credit cards can be quite dangerous with ADHD. However, I've built a system which allows me to stay on top of all my credit card debt and even earn cashback whilst improving my credit score. The one pot which I didn't talk about was the credit card pot. I use this pot as a master pot. Whenever I use my credit card, I take out money from the relevant pot and add it to the credit card pot. For example, if I go shopping and spend an X amount at Sainsbury's on groceries from my cashback credit card, I'll remove that same amount from my food and household pot and add it to my credit card pot. This ensures that I actually never spend more money than I have in debit. I do this for all my credit cards. At the end of each month, one day before my salary comes in, I withdraw from my credit card pot and pay off all the credit card expenses for that month, meaning I've kept a 0% interest charge but earned cashback. So essentially I get all the gain with zero repayment. And this year I've been able to earn over £300 in cashback alone. New credit cards have different offers, so you can always earn more in cashback than even I have, depending on how much your yearly expenses are. It's important to note that the key thing with credit cards is to pay them off in full each month and to never actually pay any of the super hiked up interest rates, or you risk nuking your credit score. If you feel that this would be risky for you with ADHD, then I wouldn't suggest you have a credit card in the first place. In this video, we looked at how I use Monzo to optimize for my ADHD. I've developed a system which works for me. It may not work for you, but I hope there's some things you can take away. The key thing is to really give your expenses respect. Once you create a financial management system that works for you with ADHD, it creates friction against spending spontaneously and unsustainably. I still allow myself room for spontaneous purchases, but I'm a lot better than where I was without using this approach. If you got this far in the video, then I applaud you. If you had any further suggestions for my Monzo setup or had your own tips and techniques for managing your ADHD, then please drop these in the description below. I'll be replying to everyone. For more videos on how I stay on top of my ADHD whilst being an NHS doctor and a PhD student at Oxford University, please subscribe for more and let me know what topics you want me to talk about. I'll be posting regularly. Till next time.